They may build a tail down into north central parts of Texas, maybe even including the Dallas area before the night is over.
All right, and another warning there now south of Oklahoma City. So the threat is over in Oklahoma City. That front has come through, temperatures are dropping, and that's going to be that for severe storms.
Yes. Yeah, once this existing line goes through, I think we'll not see any more severe storms. We're getting a cold front will come in and merge with this dry line, and you'll be too cool and too dry for storms in farther west in Texas and Oklahoma.
All right, Dr. Greg Forbes, thank you so much for your expertise tonight, and let's turn it over now to Julie Martin. Julie?
All right, guys, thank you so much for that excellent coverage. We are continuing our special coverage here live on the Weather Channel. We're interrupting our regular programming to bring you the very latest in terms of those watches and warnings. Obviously, a very busy night in terms of severe weather. We have seen at least 5 reported tornadoes, more than 100 severe weather reports. Dr. Forbes and Carl have been bringing this to you live for a couple of hours now. We want to take you now a live picture of Oklahoma City, and this was one of the areas we saw go completely black tonight. Mike Seidel, situated in Oklahoma City. We saw it go black before the sun went down. Also, golf ball-sized hail reported there in Oklahoma City. And then we also have live pictures from Tulsa and also outside of Tulsa. All of these locations, areas where we have seen either severe weather or possible tornado reports. Certainly a lot of damage being reported out of Moore, Oklahoma as well at this hour as we speak. We do want to show you some video right now we've gotten in. This is from earlier this evening in East Tulsa. Oh, we've got one more picture for you. This is outside of Tulsa. Yes, outside of Tulsa. And we have seen, obviously, a lot of damage in many of these areas. Here's some video we're getting in now. This is from East Tulsa. We did see earlier this evening, or we saw in the live picture, I'm sorry about that, we're okay, we're in the video now from East Tulsa. A funnel cloud being reported there earlier this evening, Carl. We saw it live here on the Weather Channel, and this was really just one of several reports throughout the evening. We know that there has been some extensive damage in and around Moore, Oklahoma, and Sand Springs, I believe it is.
That's right, and also there in West Tulsa. So this was taken earlier this evening, and it is a little difficult to see early on there. This storm was rain wrapped, as we say. There was a lot of very heavy rain at the time, but if you look just to the left of those signs there, you'll see that there's some darker cloud, and then it's a little bit lighter on the left. So that is the tornado right there. Now, this is a really good example, really good illustration of why it is that it's not a good idea to go outside and try to figure out if you can actually see the tornado, because you may not be able to see it in some cases. And if a storm like that is right on you, it may not be very visible at all. But that was the tornado in Tulsa that did cause a lot of damage. You can see how clear it was just off to the west there. And we also got a fair amount of damage across Oklahoma City as well. And that was due largely to very strong winds. So most of what we have seen today has been large hail. A lot of reports of large hail. And in fact, here are the reports extending from Oklahoma and all the way up into southwestern Missouri. And now over 100 reports, 114 reports, 94 hail. And we've got thunderstorm wind damage as well being reported, several cases of that. 5 tornado reports. Notice that they are clustered across northeastern Oklahoma and northwestern Arkansas. Will not be at all surprising to see that we get a tornado report there south of Oklahoma City. We saw a very well-defined rotational signature, and we saw the thing that Doppler radar can do is it can show you where there is debris in the air.
Right.
And we saw that very clearly there south of Oklahoma City.
And we know sections of I-35 were shut down.
Yes.
We have reports of flipped vehicles on the interstate as well. So obviously a very powerful series of storms coming through the area.
Yeah, and it's amazing that that area gets hit so frequently.
Yeah.
Moore was hit so badly in 1999 and in 2013, but then there have also been storms in the intervening years that have hit that area as well. It's just one of those spots that tends to really get hit hard.
Absolutely.
So right now, severe thunderstorm watches extend from Oklahoma through northern Arkansas and right up towards the confluence of the Mississippi and Ohio River valleys. most of what we are going to see going forward is going to be severe thunderstorms, which is not to say that we won't get some tornadoes. That's still possible, but the tornado threat is going to be coming down in favor more of a severe wind threat, maybe some hail certainly, and also very heavy rain as thunderstorms move over the same areas again and again, and the lines themselves only drop to the south very slowly.
And I mean, look at all of the lightning showing up right now on the radar. So it's not just the tornadic threat, but we're talking about lightning, straight line winds, obviously power outages. We saw earlier tonight those power flashes, I believe, in the Oklahoma City area.
Right. Oh, tremendous power flashes. And hopefully we can get that video for you before very long. It's really unbelievable video of the power flashes there. Now, Cleveland, McLean under severe thunderstorm warning, and that's going until 8:15. So the front is through. The winds have turned around to the northwest in Oklahoma City. That means the threat for severe weather is over. It's going to be driving farther to the south and farther to the east. These cells moving east now about 30 miles per hour and certainly capable of producing damaging wind and large hail and a lot of heavy rain. Also, severe thunderstorm warning there for McIntosh, Okfuskee, and Okmulgee counties. That's going until 8:45. Again, the threat is wind and hail. We've got some flash flood warnings off to the north there, and you see these boxes, these outlined areas. That's where you've got the flash flood warnings right up through the Tulsa metro. So even as all this is winding down in a lot of these metros, the lingering rain will be causing some more problems here.
Yeah, I think it's important to point out, I mean, we have seen winds as high as 75, 80 miles per hour out of these systems, and also 2-inch hail reported, more than 2-inch, even egg-size hail. So we're talking about damage, probably extensive damage to vehicles and property as well.
Yeah, there was actually a report of a softball size hail that was west of Tulsa. That's pretty amazing when you think about 4¼ inch hail. There's a tornado warning to tell you about, and notice the appendage that's coming down from this cell. So the tornado likes to sit right in there. That's where you're going to see the shear right in that area, and so that's where we've got a possible tornado there. Adair, Benton, Washington counties, that going until 8:30.
Carl, I was just getting a report here on the Weather Service chat. Tornado on the ground 10 miles southwest of Siloam Springs. So I believe that's this particular storm. See if I can. There it is. There's Siloam Springs.
Siloam Springs.
Springs.
So let's go ahead and take a look at the high resolution radar and see what we can see there. So looking at the velocity mode here, actually yes, that would make sense. So this you're saying just to the west of Siloam Springs. So we are seeing some rotation right in there. We're seeing a little bit of a rotational signature right there. It's not the most pronounced one, but there is one there. Checking for some debris. It's really ambiguous. Difficult to say that we're seeing any particular debris, but it's going to be right in that little area, that little kink right in there. So heads up there in Siloam Springs, possible tornado coming your way. And I also want to show you this video from earlier today from Oklahoma City, and really just remarkable, Julie, to see the breadth of the power flashes. It was not in a really localized area as we often see with tornadoes, but rather it was over a very large area of ground, indicating wind all over the place.
All over the place, and you just saw those flashes pop, 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 and I mean one after another. So it would be interesting to find out what the power situation is like right now in Oklahoma City. I would think not good.
I'm sure, yeah, and I'm sure you're talking about widespread, at least minimal wind damage there. I mean, it's just incredible. You see that going off and over a very, very large area. In each of those cases, those are those power poles that are being damaged by strong wind, and you know, it's not, again, not just in a confined area, which is what you would expect to see with a tornado. So this is really, at least in addition to the tornado, about the very wide area of straight line winds coming through the southern part of Oklahoma.
What's interesting is Mike Seidel was there, and we saw that the street lights were flickering where he was, but we saw it literally go from daylight to blackness, all within a matter of minutes.
Unbelievable, the change in coloring in the sky there within a very short period of time. The severe threat ongoing, and we'll have much more on that coming up in a few minutes.
It took James Dyson 5,000 prototypes to invent the bagless vacuum, and another 10,000 to invent the only vacuum that doesn't lose suction, thanks to patented sonic tips. Everything else is history. Search Kinetic now.
Anyone have occasional constipation, diarrhea, gas, bloating?
Yes.
One Phillips Colon Health probiotic cap each day helps defend against these occasional digestive issues with 3 types of good bacteria. Live the regular life. Phillips.
Think your tropical vacation can't get any better than this? Xperio UV superior polarized sun lenses eliminate 100% of blinding reflective glare and offer the maximum UV protection. Ask for Xperio UV superior polarized sun lenses for the best vision under the sun.
The Fiat 500 isn't alone anymore. It's part of a big Italian family.
All we need to sell Strongbow Hard Cider is ice. And an award for best tasting hard cider.
Have you got the shot yet?
Remember that thing about keeping your face behind the award? Strongbow.
Your buddy Ron is always full of advice, usually bad. So when Ron said you'd never afford a John Deere tractor, you knew better. The E-Series, legendary quality, unexpected low price.
You know your dentures can move. Unlike natural teeth, try Fixodent Plus TrueFeel. The smooth formula helps keep dentures in place. It's free of flavors and colorants for a closer feeling to natural teeth. Fixodent, and forget it.
Whatever their stickers say, they'll all lose suction because their filters clog. But with our sonic tips oscillating at 5,000 Hertz, only new Dyson Kinetic Science won't lose suction.
Sundays. One man's trash. This is perfect. Is another man's wood-powered Jeep gasifier. Brainstormers. Sundays at 9. Only on the Weather Channel.
Welcome back to the Weather Channel. We are continuing our live coverage now of this severe weather outbreak, and we are interrupting our regular programming to bring this to you. Already at least 5 reported tornadoes. We have more than 100 severe weather reports out of Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri. Right now you're taking a live look at South Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm sorry. East Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've had a reported tornado west of Tulsa at this point. Certainly not out of the question as the storm holds together that we could be seeing more damage out of this same cell coming through. Taking a look now earlier, this is Moore, Oklahoma, and this video coming in from KFOR. You can see all the power flashes there. Pretty incredible situation unfolding with these transformers just blowing there, and the sky literally blackening within minutes.
Yeah, you know, this is really interesting because it reminds me of what I've seen in hurricanes where you've got transformers blowing up over a very large area, over a very wide area. So when we see this, and we do often see this with tornadoes, and it's in a more confined area, that's something that you would expect. In this case, you see it over a huge area, and that it seems to indicate that you've got a large straight line wind, perhaps in addition to a tornado, though we don't obviously see a tornado here, but we do see a lot of strong wind dropping through this area, and as a result, those power flashes occurring. So it was a very scary afternoon, and take a look at the cloud there showing up from these aerial views.
Yeah, some of these winds reported 75 to 80 miles per hour. We've had reports of anywhere from 2-inch hail to softball-sized hail in some of these areas. So you've got to imagine the damage there to property, to vehicles, and we did see that damage also coming out of near Moore, Oklahoma, of that mobile home community that was significantly damaged in this storm, and I believe they were still searching for someone who may be trapped in that mobile home community.
Yeah, very difficult to hear, and that's a town that has been hit so hard. In 2013, they got a devastating tornado, and then in 1999, they got a devastating tornado. It's one of those places where they tend to get a lot of tornadoes, and they had some in the years in between. We want to take a look at what's going on right now on the radar picture, and there you see that there is a severe warning for Okmulgee and Tulsa and Wagner counties. So this is now just south of Tulsa, where we're concerned about damaging wind and large hail. And you see the green boxes there, that's showing you where there are ongoing flash flood warnings. So that's going to be an ongoing threat as well. Very heavy rain coming down and across this region. And then also we've got the tornado warning off to the east there in Fayetteville. We apparently had a tornado near Siloam Springs in Fayetteville. Looking at the velocity data, not a real obvious rotational signature right now, but certainly these cells have been producing tornadoes for a pretty long period of time. So that is going to exist right up there near this appendage right there where you've got this little bit of a kink going on. That's where you can get these circulations developing, and that is certainly the concern. But again, looking at the rotational signatures, that's just not really profound formed right now. That doesn't mean that we can't have a tornado at this time. It just means it's not showing up all that well right now.
So the people who live in Fayetteville, Totown, and Salem Springs, obviously Westville, you're going to want to take cover now because this could certainly still produce a tornado.
Certainly could. Now, the one good thing I can tell you is that the tornado threat is going to be diminishing, generally speaking. It's going to be coming down over the next couple of hours here. It's going to be more of a flash flood threat along with wind and hail. There you see a live picture of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the threat for you is essentially over at this time, apart from lingering lightning, obviously. And then you've got very heavy rain that's still coming down. And again, those flash flood warnings across the Tulsa metro.
And that's when you want to watch out for the falling trees, also the down power lines. And people, a lot of times after a storm passes through, get out and they do try to clean up and they do try to pick up their property. And that's when a lot of people end up getting hurt.
Now, you know, and that's interesting that you say that because actually there can be a burst of lightning after a thunderstorm has passed. And that, of course, is when, as you say, a lot of people want to go outside and see what's going on. But lightning can be a really significant threat even when it appears that the threat is beginning to come down. So that's
we've seen a tremendous amount of lightning showing up all evening long on the radar with these this line of storms marching across this area.
Right, and as you say that, there is all that lightning that's showing up. This line slowly sagging off towards the south here. So you've got this big axis that's like this, and storms rolling along that, but it's only slowly dropping down towards the south. That's where the flash flood threat is coming from, and you've got this ongoing lightning. Look at that. Look at all the lightning over there into northern parts of Arkansas. Around Tulsa, 237 strikes. I believe that's in the last 15 minutes. Look at that. 1,000 strikes in the last 15 minutes there. So highly electrical storms now right along that Arkansas and Missouri state line and rolling off towards the east. In Oklahoma City, again, cooler air is now coming in, so things are improving pretty dramatically. Got some lingering lightning there, but it's certainly not nearly the threat that we saw earlier today.
And you know, we've gotten some video in out of the Moore, Oklahoma area where we did see some damage to a mobile home park. We also know that portions of I-35 were closed in each direction, and we have seen images of cars flipped over. So, you know, with it being dark out right now, it's always sort of a wait and see in terms of damage and just what has taken place as these storms rush through very quickly.
Yeah, and you know, thinking about all those power flashes, all those transformers, that certainly means that live wires are down.
Yes.
And at night now, so that's very dangerous. Here, if you haven't seen this one more time, this is a look at the aerials shot by KFOR, the station there in Oklahoma City, of the widespread power flashes occurring with perhaps a tornado. You see the sparks flying off there.
Yeah,
Isn't that amazing?
You do.
Perhaps a tornado here, but also certainly straight line winds because it's happening over such a wide area there in southern Oklahoma City.
And we have definitely seen a lot of these storms with rotation throughout the evening. I know you and Dr. Forbes have been tracking this now for a couple of hours. We know of at least 5 reported tornadoes. Dr. Forbes saying likely 10 or more.
Stay tuned for your Local on the 8s, brought to you by Duracell, trusted to outlast the storm.
I've seen hurricanes, floods, I've seen tornadoes. We give out Duracell batteries after the worst happens. And when the power's out for days, we stay with them. You might say they lost everything, but that's not what I see. I see a different kind of power. I saw it in Ruth, Adam, Tom. It's the power they have inside of them. The power to move forward.
At Duracell, we believe that's the power that never, ever goes out.
Currently in our area, 77 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Tonight, some clouds, low 72. Winds south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, partly cloudy early. Thursday night, thunderstorms early, low 73. Winds south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Chance of rain, 50%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
True Green presents the Yardleys.
Hello? You did? You really? Ding dong. Oh, the pizza's here. Hey, come on in. Right. Whoa! Lose the sneakers, pal. Kind of a thing.
This is more than a lawn. This is a True Green lawn. With True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. Spring is on. Start your True Green lawn plan today.
Bye now.
True Green. Live life outside.
Going to the paint studio at Ace is like going to your neighbor. And hurry in this Wednesday through Sunday for buy 1 gallon, get 1 free. Save up to $71 when you buy 2 gallons, exclusively at Ace.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Shelley, how'd you come to find the biggest liquid gold mine in the state?
I was shopping for provisions.
Yeah?
That's when I saw it.
What'd you see, Shelley?
Boxes and boxes of Belvita shells and cheese got clear to the ceiling.
Can we go look at it, Shelley?
Yeah, it's right over here.
Oh!
There's gold in them there shells. Liquid gold.
Experts say replace your mattress every 8 years. And get this, during the Rooms to Go anniversary sale, you can buy a Tempur-Pedic mattress and get 8 years interest-free financing. That's right, 8 years. Who offers financing for that long? Rooms to Go, of course. So now you can have that Tempur-Pedic mattress you've always wanted, 2,920 nights of great Tempur-Pedic sleep until 2023, 8 years from now, when it's time to get your next Tempur-Pedic mattress. So just hurry to Rooms to Go now during our anniversary sale.
With Tire Kingdom's conventional oil change, we rotate your tires, check your battery, and visually check your brakes, all for $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee. And now get a $70 reward card when you buy 4 Michelin tires, like the Premier AS tire. Even when worn, they still stop shorter on wet roads than leading competitors' brand new tires. Tire Kingdom Service Centers. That's all you need.
Now.
Welcome back as we continue our special coverage of this severe weather outbreak impacting Oklahoma, Missouri. We have right now at least 5 reported tornadoes, possibly more than 100 severe weather reports. And we know that there has been damage in a couple of areas, including near Moore, Oklahoma. Let's listen in.
It blew the whole top off of the house while we were in it with my 4-year-old grandbaby. My whole family lives in here, and everybody is affected by it.
Up from the bathtub to the ceiling 3 times, man.
There's people in here with cancer.
Everybody.
And that was coming west of Tulsa in the Sand Springs area, where we know a mobile home community was very heavily damaged. And we did hear reports earlier this evening of at least 1 person being trapped, and there were search and rescue efforts ongoing there as well. But widespread damage in many areas. We still have an active tornado warning, though conditions are starting to die down a bit. We want to take you out to that warning right now. This remains in effect now for northwestern Washington and southwestern Benton counties in northwestern Arkansas, also Adair County in Oklahoma. This goes for about another 10 minutes or so. Now, this storm located about 6 miles northwest of Westville. It's moving to the east at 45 miles per hour. So if you live in any of these areas, including in the Fayetteville area, you do want to take cover now, as again, this storm is racing along, one of many, just a line of storms that has been marching all across this area this evening. We have seen just numerous reports of damage and power outages. Mike Seidel has been stationed for us all day long in Oklahoma City, which we saw earlier this evening. Mike, your live shot go from daylight to darkness all within a matter of minutes.
Yes, we've had it all down here. It's now thankfully off to our east. We've got that chilly northerly wind coming in. Temperatures by tomorrow morning will drop from the mid-80s this afternoon into the low 40s, and tomorrow will be about 20 degrees colder. Yes, it turned dark very quickly, and keep in mind, this was about an hour and a half before sundown, and it got dark as night, even maybe some would say darker. We had the wind, the rain, wind gusts between 50 and 60 miles an hour, right where I'm standing, golf ball sized hail. Before that, we had mammatus clouds. Then on the back end, we had a rainbow and more mammatus clouds. So it was certainly an atmospheric journey today. and amazingly so, I was right across the street here back on October 12th of 2012, and I had the same kind of sky issues. We had the shelf cloud. We also had back then the rainbow, the mammatus clouds. So it's like everything repeated itself today here in Oklahoma City. Fortunately, downtown, the power's on. We didn't have the issues that they've had down I-35 and Moore. But the bottom line in Moore, this is not the situation we had in 99, 2003, and a couple of years ago. This is a much weaker reported tornado. No reports of widespread damage. We've had power poles down, cars flipped, a truck flipped. I-35, last check, was shut down in both directions. So we're going to go out there and find out what the situation is. But this is nothing like the experience we went through just 2 years ago, and then back in 03 and 99 when they had the F5, the EF5, and then another EF5 a couple of years ago. So Julie, tonight things have calmed down around Oklahoma City, but we will have, again, the chillier winds tonight. The atmosphere is stabilized. Everything is now off to the east of here. But quite a wild scene. It got very dark, and we had the worst of it for about 30 minutes. Yeah. And then as quickly as it moved in, it moved down. We had a beautiful sunset, and it's like they turned the lights back on, and then we had the rainbow. Julie?
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy scene. And Mike, I know you had to go off of the air for a time, and when you came back, you showed us some pretty incredible video of hail that had fallen from the sky as well. How big would you say that hail was in Oklahoma City?
Yeah, the biggest hailstones we had out here were golf ball size. Now, they weren't covering the entire ground. They were here and there as far as the golf ball size. Most of the hailstones were pea to marble size, but when the golf ball sized hailstones hit the vehicle, it was like boom. And I've seen a lot of severe thunderstorms. I've never been in a vehicle and hit by hailstones that large, believe it or not. And that's why we had to put the satellite dish down. We were concerned about damage to the dish from the hailstones, combined with winds at 50 to 60 miles an hour. So you can imagine being hit by a piece of ice the size of a golf ball at 50 to 60 miles an hour. So we put the dish down, and think about it, Julie, we probably wouldn't have gotten a signal out anyway, right, because of rain fade. So now the dish obviously is back up,
and the rain,
and we're looking much better here. We'll try to get it. Go ahead.
And the rain was quite heavy. You said it was blowing sideways, which would be similar to something you'd see in a hurricane as well.
Yeah, just like being in a tropical storm or hurricane. The horizontal rain was going from right to left with the winds around to the north. We had the northwest wind, and then as we got the outflow from another storm, the winds came around to the southwest, and then they came back around to the north. So it thankfully is all over with, and at least here in the downtown area, everybody is in pretty good shape.
Mike, we're glad you're okay, and the storm threat has now passed in Oklahoma City, but we're continuing to track the latest severe weather when we come back.
It's just you and your honey. The setting is perfect. But then erectile dysfunction happens again. Plenty of guys have this issue, not just getting an erection, but keeping it. Well, Viagra helps guys with ED get and keep an erection. And you only take it when you need it.
Ask your doctor if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Viagra if you take nitrates for chest pain. It may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Side effects include headache, flushing, upset stomach, and abnormal vision. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. Stop taking Viagra and call your doctor right away if you experience a sudden decrease or loss in vision or hearing.
Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you.
Last year, Bud Light built a town called Whatever USA and invited anyone who enjoys spontaneous awesomeness to become its citizens.
It's like Christmas, my birthday, Mardi Gras all combined. This is unreal. It's like my best dream.
Are you up for whatever? Good weather, drinking beer is awesome. Where am I? This is amazing.
And all that's standing between you and a chance at is sharing a 15-second audition video. Tell us why you should go using #UpForWhatever and #audition.
I went to Ancestry.com, but I thought, I'm not going to make it very far. I knew my parents and my grandparents, and then it happened. I got a leaf. When I clicked on it, I could actually see my grandfather's draft card from World War I and his U.S. Census from 1910, and another member's tree that had my great-grandparents and their parents and everything. And it all started with my first leaf.
Who will you discover at Ancestry.com?
Here's our new trainer, Ensure Active Heart Health.
I maximize good stuff, like my potassium, and phytosterols, which may help lower cholesterol.
New Ensure Active Heart Health supports your heart and body so you stay active and strong. Ensure
Ensure. Take life in.
Are you sending your kids to school with an allergy medicine that may make them drowsy? Only Children's Claritin provides non-drowsy 24-hour allergy relief.
And it's the #1 pediatrician recommended non-drowsy brand.
In class and out, your kids can live Claritin Clear.
Alaska. It's the place you've always dreamed of, where the ordinary is simply extraordinary, and the views, like your memories, go on forever. When was the last time a vacation took your breath away? Alaska. Begin your adventure at AlaskaBeyondYourDreams.com.
The FDA issued a public notice to doctors and patients concerning serious injuries caused by transvaginal mesh, bladder mesh, pelvic sling, and bladder sling. Please call now if you had one of these devices implanted in the last 5 years. You may be entitled to a cash award. If you had a transvaginal mesh, bladder mesh, pelvic sling, or bladder sling in the last 5 years,
please call 1-866-686-7952 now.
Welcome back to the Weather Channel. We're continuing to break into our programming to bring you live coverage of the severe weather outbreak taking place across the plains right now, and we want to take you in now to Sand Springs. This is west of Tulsa, where we know that a mobile home community there was heavily damaged, and we are now getting a report of at least one person confirmed dead as a result of what appears to be a tornado moving through the Sand Springs area. Again, this is west of Tulsa, a mobile home community. Earlier tonight, we did hear of one person being trapped. I know there was search and rescue ongoing there as well, but now getting word of unfortunately one dead as a result of this strong storm. We also know that there was structural damage in the city of Tulsa itself. Numerous reports of trees down, structures damaged. There you see, what appears to be a fire as well. Taking a look now at Tulsa proper, a lot of police activity there. We know that sections of interstates were shut down, cars flipped over there. I believe this looks like what might have been a gymnasium that was also heavily damaged. Right now, not hearing reports of injuries coming out of Tulsa. However, all of this happened, as you can imagine, within just a short amount of time not long ago, and a lot of response still ongoing at the scene. More Oklahoma, another area hard hit in this evening's storms, and this area no stranger to tornadoes. We just had the EF5 tornado there back in 2013 that killed 24 people. This does not appear to be anywhere near that magnitude. Nonetheless, you can see there a lot of ponding on the streets, structures down, trees down, and certainly widespread power outages. We saw numerous power flashes as these storms came through. And Carl, we were talking about just how unusual that looked, because normally you would see maybe those power flashes localized in an area or two, but they appear to be in a very large area across the entire city.
Yeah, you're talking about a huge area of very strong winds of maybe 80-mile-per-hour winds. And here's a look at that video as we saw it earlier. And again, when we're watching tornadoes, it's not unusual to see those power flashes in a rather small, a rather confined area. That is not at all what you see in this video. You're seeing these power flashes over a huge part of the south side of the Oklahoma City metro, indicating that you've got a very large area of strong winds coming in. And in fact, we were watching on the radar winds of 75, 80 miles per hour just off the ground. So it would not be at all surprising to learn of a larger area of more minor wind damage, and then obviously more significant wind damage with the tornado that actually came into Moore, Oklahoma.
We heard the sirens this evening in Oklahoma City as well, where Mike Seidel was, and we saw the sky literally turn black within a matter of minutes before the sun went down.
Yeah, exactly. It was an incredibly tall thunderstorm full of rain and hail, blocks out the sun almost completely. It literally did turn black. Looked just like night as the storms were coming in, and then after they cleared, we saw the light returning, and that is a surefire sign of a very mean storm. They are really different animals in this part of the country. They're not like the storms that we're used to in a lot of the east. We can get bad thunderstorms in the northeast and the southeast, but they are different in the plains. It's something altogether different out there in the plains. I know you've been out there and covering those storms.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see as well if the tail end of these storms can actually work its way back down toward Dallas this evening. As the evening wanes on, our tornadic threat is going to diminish, but certainly that severe weather threat might hold together.
Yeah, that's right. We've got a front that's driving down and into the southern plains. And in fact, we can show you what's going on with the front and the temperature profile right now. Here's a look at some of those storm reports. These are the tornado reports from Arkansas. There is now a tornado report from just south of Oklahoma City, and we can take a look at what that is. So I believe that's going to be that Moore tornado. Local storm report there from just south of the city, and we saw a really well-defined tornado vortex signature as that storm was coming across Moore. And so it began 6:35 there, ended 6:46, so 11 minutes. Not a very long time, and that's pretty typical. The average length of a tornado in time is 20 minutes, so they are rather fleeting, generally speaking. And there you see in Sand Springs, donut shop destroyed. We're also, of course, watching to see what happens with that mobile home park. We're hearing about a lot of injuries there, unfortunately. So it has been a very scary night.
As well.
And one fatality, as you mentioned, as well. Tornado also in War Eagle, probable rain-wrapped tornado. And actually, we had a look, and I don't know if we can get that video from Tulsa, from west of Tulsa earlier today, of a tornado that was, if not wrapped in rain, at least largely shrouded by rain, and it was not very well defined at all. And that can often be the case. That's a really good reason why you don't want to go outside when you get a tornado warning. You don't want to, I think it's a lot of people's instinct is to run outside and to see what's going on and try to figure out if there's one coming. But oftentimes you cannot see a tornado coming because it will be enshrouded in rain. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the temperature profile and show you what's going on with the front right now. And so here is what has been triggering all this. You've got this warm air coming up from the south. Temperatures made it up into the 80s today. This cold front sliding southward, and the storms firing right along the intersection of that warm and cold air and also drier air coming in from the southwest. Now, obviously, as you lose the heating of the day, your atmosphere is not going to be as buoyant. Thunderstorms are not going to be as likely to rise. You can get tornadoes as you move into the evening hours, but you really need a very dynamic situation in order to get that, and this is not quite that. So,
and we are seeing these storms break apart even more and more within the last, I would say, 15 minutes.
Yeah, they're not as vigorous as they were earlier. They're going to begin to take on more of a linear configuration. That's often the case when you see thunderstorms sort of grouped together. They begin to put out that cool air that we've all felt as the thunderstorm is coming up, and then what the thunderstorms will do is they'll pool that cool air, and new storms will fire along the leading edge. That's when it becomes a line of storms, and so we're expecting more of a linear configuration along these fronts. So severe thunderstorm watches now in effect, Oklahoma, northern Arkansas, and then over into the intersection of the Mississippi and Ohio rivers, that going until 2 o'clock in the morning. And we've also got a flash flood threat because you notice the line here is not really moving all that much. You've got thunderstorms that are coming across and moving off to the north and east, but the line itself is only very slowly coming to the south. And look, Julie, at that,
lightning. Wow.
Tremendous lightning. Maybe we could zoom in and query some of that, Sarah. Take a look at some of the lightning here in Oklahoma, which is now for the most part past Oklahoma City. Still maybe the far southern exurbs getting in on some of that. You've got plenty of lightning. I mean, look at that. Right around Tulsa there. Highly electrical storms now just south and east of 44. 300 strikes or nearly so in the last 15 minutes. And keep in mind, folks, even once the threat appears to have passed, once the wind is calming down, rain is calming down, the lightning can still be tremendous in these storms on the backside of the storms. And in fact, that's when a lot of people get struck by lightning.
Because they go out to pick up their property, to check on their vehicles, that kind of thing.
Seems like it's okay at that time.
We're taking a live look now at Tulsa, and we do have some images to show you from earlier this evening out of the Tulsa airport as well, where we know that people were in fact taking shelter. So we'll bring that picture to you right now. And what a chaotic scene I'm sure that was, although the airport a relatively safe place to be. In general, a lot of times tornadoes airports are used as tornado shelters.
Yeah, any of those, bigger, stronger buildings, whether it's schools, that kind of thing.
Right.
Although, as we have seen, this was actually the case in Moore, Oklahoma in 2013, even schools can be destroyed by the strongest of tornadoes.
Absolutely.
So there's your ongoing severe weather threat. Still highly electrical storms and a flash flood threat and wind and hail threat continues. We'll talk much more about this on the other side of the break. Stay with us.
Push it. Push it. Push it real good. Ooh, baby, baby. Baby, baby.
If you're salt and pepper, you tell people to push it.
Push it real good.
It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
I'm pushing it real good.
It took James Dyson 5,000 prototypes to invent the bagless vacuum, and another 10,000 to invent the only vacuum that doesn't lose suction, thanks to patented sonic tips. Everything else is history. Search Kinetic now.
No wind, no rain can keep these guys away from you. Because when severe weather breaks out,
we saw houses obliterated.
Devastation here is just ridiculous.
The First Response Team of America storms in.
Our mission is pretty straightforward. Get to a storm site quickly and start helping survivors immediately.
Thank you!
Buckle up and follow the team all winter long on the Weather Channel and weather.com/responders. The First Response Team of America, powered by Ram, the official truck of the Road to Recovery.
All we need to sell Strongbow Hard Cider is ice. And an award for best tasting hard cider.
Have you got the shot yet?
Remember that thing about keeping your face behind the award? Strongbow.
Peter, one day you will die for me.
We are fishermen, not fighters.
I never had you for a coward. My son chose you for a reason, Peter.
Join us and become a real force to be reckoned with.
We are already beyond counting!
AD, The Bible Continues. Easter Sunday, April 5th on NBC.
According to the U.S. Department of Energy, most homes have air leaks and drafts that waste so much energy, it's like leaving a window open in your home all year long. Don't let another year go by. Call Champion Windows at 844-4CHAMPION. And right now, when you buy 2 rooms of windows, you get the 3rd room free. Plus, Champion now offers no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. So call 844-4CHAMPION today. Because every home needs a champion.
You know your dentures can move. Unlike natural teeth, try Fixodent Plus TrueFeel. The smooth formula helps keep dentures in place. It's free of flavors and colorants for a closer feeling to natural teeth. Fixodent and forget it.
My husband said, "You're beautiful and I love you, but I'm worried about your health and your weight. I'm worried we're going to lose you." That was my moment.
When your moment comes, you can count, track, and worry over every meal. Or you can lose weight simply with Jenny Craig.
Just walk in or call. Meet your dedicated personal consultant who helps you reach your goals. Pick out delicious food and start losing now. Visit JennyCraig.com for our best offer ever.
A moment can change your whole life with Jenny Craig.
Your buddy Ron is always full of advice, usually bad. So when Ron said you'd never afford a John Deere tractor, you knew better. The E-Series, legendary quality, unexpected low price.
It's gonna go fast. Hold on.
You just never know what's gonna happen.
Holy this is cold! We know you can't control the weather, so we build things to harness it.
That was a good one.
That's amazing. Straight above our heads. That's just incredible.
Man, how do we do that? This is where I want to be right now.
Welcome back to the Weather Channel, everyone. We are continuing our special coverage of this severe weather outbreak we know has already produced at least 5 preliminary tornadoes, more than 100 reports of severe weather. You're taking a live look now at the radar out of Bristow. This is southwest of Tulsa, Oklahoma, where we still have some heavy rain right now. You'll notice a tremendous amount of lightning also showing up on the radar at this hour. The severe weather threat is starting to diminish a little bit, but we still have flash flooding concerns, lightning concerns, and certainly we are dealing with the aftermath of some of these storms that have blown through and caused significant damage. We have Scott Peak on the phone right now. He is a storm chaser out of Bristow, Oklahoma. And Scott, it's my understanding that you were very close to the Sand Springs tornado west of Tulsa, where we know there's been extensive damage tonight.
Yes, I'm actually out of Norman, Oklahoma. Sorry. The tornado, we intercepted it on Interstate 412 and 77th in Sand Springs right as it was emerging out of the rain. And we had to make an invasive remover to not get hit by the tornado. So
and describe for us what that looked like. Did it come completely to the ground?
Oh yeah, it was totally on the ground. We couldn't turn around. Wow. The interstate had a barrier, so we couldn't turn around. We had to exit, and by that point, the tornado was right next to us, and we had to turn back around and take shelter. And then we didn't get out of the car, but we just got out of the way of it, and then it moved off, and then we followed it into Sand Springs.
And it looks like a rather large tornado. Can you describe how large do you think it was from your vantage point?
It was a large cone tornado, and it was wafting a lot of debris in the air and a lot of power flashes, lots of debris around it.
You know, the mobile home park there we know was heavily damaged, and now we're getting reports of at least one person dead in the area. Were you near that mobile home park? Do you know?
Yes, unfortunately, someone did. We did have a fatality, and we were right next to the tornado after it passed us, and about the time it was doing damage to that mobile home park.
So you've seen the mobile home park itself?
We didn't get to see the mobile home park, but we saw stuff flying in the air after it passed us, and we assumed that it was debris from the mobile home park.
Okay.
So.
Scott, this is Carl Parker. I'm wondering if we can go back and take a look at the video we were looking at moments ago. It looked like you were under a bridge at one point, and the winds got really hairy. Was that the periphery of the tornado, or was that the RFD, do you think?
That was the edge of the tornado that we were taking shelter from. We had no other way to take shelter. We didn't have any other options. There were no buildings nearby we could go into. There was nothing. So that was our last-ditch effort to stay safe from the tornado as it was passing by.
Okay, so this video just came up once again, and we're watching here as the winds, and you can see that there's a circulation there. So, wow, that must have been hairy for a moment for you, huh?
Yes, our ears were popping. Kevin Rolf's, my chasing partner's ears were popping first, and then mine started popping, and then our friend Nicole's ears started popping, and the winds picked up, and the van in front of us started rocking really bad, and then our car started rocking, and that's when we saw the debris flying.
And which highway were you on again?
We were underneath 412, and we intercepted the tornado at 412 and 77.
And this looks like a relatively rural area. Were there any sirens?
We could hear them in the background in Sand Springs.
Okay.
So we could hear them. They were going off even we were heading towards the tornado before he intercepted it. They were going off.
And Scott, we're looking at the structure of this thing. It looks like you've got a fairly large condensation funnel, almost wedge-like or cone-like in shape, and then you've got a pretty wide dust envelope that really spread out at the base there, yes?
Yes, yeah. It wasn't a wedge tornado. We were actually really close to it. A quarter mile from it, so it made it look like it was a wedge, but it was actually a tall cone tornado from what I could see.
And as you were traveling near this, did you notice it relatively quickly, or was it something you saw from a distance?
It was difficult. It was in the rain.
Yeah,
so we were in the rain, and it started showing its face as it was coming out of the rain momentarily.
And those are the most dangerous, right, Carl? I mean, you don't really see them until they're right on top of you.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great example of how, there's a tornado right there in front of Scott. And Scott, we're just looking at this sort of very broad, diffuse area, and to the untrained eye, you might not know that there's a tornado there.
Right.
Right, and a lot of people were still driving down the highway, not knowing what they were about to drive into. So I'm glad I didn't have any fatalities on the highway that I know of. So.
Right, Scott.
But yeah.
Scott Peak, our storm chaser, we're so glad that you're safe, and thanks for your incredible video and that live report. Again, the severe weather threat still exists. We're tracking it for you here on the Weather Channel.
It's time to experience what's made Lexus the fastest growing automotive luxury brand on the road. There's never been a better time to drive a Lexus. During the Command Performance Sales Event, get great offers on your favorite Lexus models, now through March 31st. See your Lexus dealer.
You owned your car for 4 years. You named it Brad. You loved Brad. And then you totaled him. You two had been through everything together. 2 boyfriends, 3 jobs. You're like, nothing can replace Brad. Then Liberty Mutual calls. And you break into your happy dance.
If you sign up for better car replacement, we'll pay for a car that's a model year newer with 15,000 fewer miles than your old one. See car insurance in a whole new light. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Going to the paint studio at Ace is like going to your neighbor. And hurry in this Wednesday through Sunday for buy 1 gallon, get 1 free. Save up to $71 when you buy 2 gallons, exclusively at Ace.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
We're here today asking kids what their favorite vegetable is.
Kids?
Now we're going to give those same kids Bush's baked beans.
That's good.
And finally, we're going to tell them that Bush's baked beans are actually a vegetable.
Ixnay on the vegetable bay.
Oh, right. Bush's secret family recipe gives them a delicious flavor, so they're a vegetable that kids actually like.
Bush's baked beans, the vegetable that kids love.
Hey, what is this? What's going on?
Well, where have you been?
I was inside.
Yeah?
So long. There was nothing. No yard, no grill. It was just white and cold.
It was winter, buddy. Just winter.
Somebody get this man a burger!
Winter's over, and new and improved Kingsford charcoal is now better than ever.
We're different, in case no one noticed. We store fat more easily than men, but surprisingly, we can burn fat better too. Thermodynamic Total Burn is the ultimate fat burner for women. It amps up your body's natural fat burning capability, switching your metabolism into rapid fat burning mode and making it easier to lose the extra pounds that'll have nowhere to hide this summer. Don't wait to lose weight. Get Total Burn today. It's part of Body Lab by Jennifer Lopez.
You know those neighbors always making weird inventions out of junk in their garage? We just gave them their own TV show.
Come on, Wind.
I think I just made Mother Nature my bitch.
One man's trash.
This is perfect.
Is another man's wood-powered Jeep gasifier.
Brainstormers, Sundays at 9, only on the Weather Channel.
Vault 39 Wine Cellar. Discover the world's most extraordinary wines by the glass. Relax in the chic atmosphere of our lounge or in our outdoor courtyard. Savor a selection of light appetizers, specialty beers, and champagnes. Receive personalized assistance for wine selections and wine retail purchases. Stop by and experience Palm Beach's most unique wine bar and wine retail store.
It makes me happy to go on the computer. I like feeling smart.
Internet Essentials from Comcast has brought low-cost internet access to over 1.4 million low-income people at home.
Internet Essentials helped me progress in my schoolwork. It helped my grades move higher.
Today, it's the largest broadband adoption program in America.
It helped me a lot.
Comcast NBC Universal, helping to bridge the digital divide.
Order now.
Very scary night in Oklahoma City. We got a tornado in Moore. This is a town that has been hit very hard in the last 16 years. Terrible tornado in 1999 and another terrible tornado in 2013. And there have been smaller tornadoes between those two. And now another one to add to the list of the many storms that have affected Moore. There are the ongoing storms. That severe weather threat is now well past Oklahoma City. Cooler air is coming down from the north. Severe thunderstorm warning for Cleveland, McLean, Pottawatomie counties, and there is a hail threat. Could be some large hail there, golf ball size hail. In addition to that, very heavy rain coming down and plenty of lightning with these storms as they continue to move along to the east.
And Carl, we've seen more than 100 severe weather reports this evening out of Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas. Moore, Oklahoma, as you mentioned, hit very hard as well. In fact, we have some incredible video to show you of the power flashes that were taking place there across the city. And we're not talking about just a localized spot here or there, but a very widespread area, which is really not typical. This indicates obviously the strength of these storms and the breadth and the width of these storms as well, which we know have caused some damage in Moore. Right now we want to go to reporter Kristen Shanahan from KFOR. She is on the ground in Moore.
I don't know if you can really see it, but there's a tree over here just flipped over in the yard and busted out windshields, just debris all over the place, trees, pieces of roofs. And actually there's a lot of people out here cleaning up still. Two of those is Shiloh and Leslie here. We've been talking with them. Now, you weren't over here at the time, but your mother lives here.
Right. My mom and dad live here, my little brother.
What did they say?
They were going to go next door to the storm shelter over there. They couldn't make it. So they went ahead and just jumped in a closet and hoped for the best.
Now, you actually were in this tornado, too, but you live, what, a couple blocks away from here?
19th and Eastern, yeah. So we didn't realize that our neighborhood had been hit at the time. As soon as we left to come over here, we had seen the damage, fences gone, stop signs blown over. Absolutely. So whenever we go home tonight, we will see what our neighborhood looks like. My house, it's okay. I mean, a couple things moved, but I'll see the rest of my neighborhood this evening when I get home.
Now, what's some of the damage here that you've seen?
Well, there used to be a carport right here. The tree absolutely is gone. Shingles, I've got wood impaled in the top of the house. Fences, part of the fences are gone in the back. So, I mean, that's really the extent of it. The inside of the house is fine. Structural is fine. Busted windshield, that's pretty much all of it, though. It's not as bad as it could be.
Are you pretty shaken up, though?
No, I mean, I'm okay. I just hope my parents are okay. I know that my mom and brother are here, so I know they're shaking up pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, overall, everything's good.
What about you, Leslie? You said you were a little scared when this tornado went through.
Yeah, I've never been through a tornado. Where I'm from, Dewey, Oklahoma, they just don't really have them. So I heard the whistle and hearing all the stuff and then seeing the aftermath was crazy and definitely had me shaking a little bit.
Now, where did you take cover?
We took cover in the closet of our house, kind of just randomly. We just tried to go in there.
And how long do you guys plan to stay out here tonight and clean up?
Until his parents are ready to come to our house and stay. So we'll be here quite a while, I think, which is good.
And no one hurt, no one injured that you know of?
No one that I know is. I mean, no one that I know of. Everyone's good.
Okay, well, thank you both so much for talking to us and sharing your story. All right, well, back to you.
All right, certainly a scary situation. Nothing quite like what we saw in 2013, fortunately, with the EF5 that came through Moore, Oklahoma, and killed 24 people. Yeah. But this is no area that is a stranger to tornadoes coming through. And she mentioned the storm shelters and the fact that people, this is pretty common for them to go down.
And a lot of people got those storm shelters after the Moore tornado, and I believe they had a state lottery to get them at a reduced rate because they're not cheap. They can cost a few $1,000s or more. But boy, if I lived in Oklahoma, I would really think seriously about investing in one of those because the tornadoes can be so bad. Now, here is video from the Sand Springs tornado, and this is when Scott Peak and his team were under a bridge. The periphery of the tornado is hitting them at this time. You see how the cars are sort of dancing around in that strong wind there, and you can sort of make out a circulation. Certainly you see that there is debris in the air, so a very close call for for Scott Peak and his chase team, and they also have some video of the tornado from a greater distance. So right there, that great big V-shaped area, that's the bottom of the tornado. Then you see where there's a dark area that's sort of spreading out. That's called the dust envelope. That's the bottom edge of the tornado where dust is being drawn into that circulation, and you can see the pieces of it clearly when you're up close, but when you're farther away, it looks sort of amorphous. And that's a really good example of how a tornado can be on you. It can be moving right in, and you don't really see that it's a tornado. It doesn't necessarily look like well-defined tornadoes we often think of them. In fact, right there you see that there's a condensation funnel that's not actually reaching the ground because the air was not quite moist enough, or the tornado was not quite strong enough for that to occur. But obviously that's the impact, Julie, and quite a bit of wind there. And this is just the outside edge of the tornado. That's not actually being hit directly by the tornado.
And we do know not far from there, a mobile home community hit very hard. At least one person lost their life this evening. We have reports of injuries as well. And Scott, we just talked with Scott, and he attested to exactly what you said. They had to get under that bridge because that tornado was right up on them, even though these are trained storm chasers and they look for these kinds of things. It just indicates that this is something that someone who doesn't have that kind of training would have no idea this is coming.
Yeah, you know, and that's probably not a bad idea to get away from hail, but I do want to point out that, you know, there was a video that was very popular from 1991 where people got underneath a bridge, and there was a reporter who said, get up under the girders. And people started doing that, and then we realized that that was actually not a very safe place to be, because even though bridges are really sturdy, people can't manage to hold on underneath the bridge when the wind is that strong. And the wind is actually stronger because it's up off the ground a little way. So that is actually not the preferred place to get underneath a bridge. If you were to do that and you survived, it'd probably be because, you know, like in this case, you're on the outside edge of the tornado, not being hit directly by the storm.
And in this case, he was on Highway 412, but we also know that Highway 35, which leads into Oklahoma City, also shut down in both directions. We've seen images of cars and trucks flipped over on the roads. I think that that is certainly one of the most dangerous and frightening places to be, is trapped inside of traffic when a tornado is upon you like that, and you can't go anywhere.
That is the nightmare scenario, Julie. And there have actually been some studies that have come out that have talked about the idea of there possibly being hundreds or even thousands of fatalities in a situation where you've got a monster tornado bearing down on a major city during rush hour. For example, let's take Dallas, where you've got freeways that are absolutely clogged at 5 to 6 o'clock in the afternoon, which happens to be the peak time for tornadoes. Were you to get a Moore type tornado to come into Dallas, and that is certainly within the realm of possibility, you could be talking about thousands of fatalities. Now, the one good thing that has happened, a lot of good things have happened, but one of the good things that have happened in recent years is the fact that everybody's got smartphones. And so they're getting the warnings right away. And so you almost don't even need sirens anymore, though it's a good idea if you don't happen to have a phone or have one on you. But most people are able to get the warnings pretty quickly. But let's say that you're on a freeway in the middle of this, and you're stuck and the traffic's very bad, and especially if there's something coming and then everybody stops. That you're in it. That's it.
I just want to recap right now. We do know of at least 5 preliminary tornadoes by the National Weather Service. We expect that number to grow much higher, and also more than 100 severe weather reports this evening across Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas, and we are looking at least 1 dead in Sand Springs, Oklahoma. That's west of Tulsa, we believe, at a mobile home park that was hit very hard there and heavily damaged earlier this evening. Carl's tracking the latest radar. That severe weather threat diminishing a bit, but we still have a lot of danger throughout the evening to go.
Yeah, it's certainly not over, Julie. And let's take a look at some of the storm reports that we've seen so far tonight. Well over 100 reports of severe, look at that, 149 reports now of severe weather. The vast majority of them are hail reports, 117 reports. That's not at all surprising. One of the threats of supercell thunderstorms, that's a very well-organized thunderstorm with a rotating core, that's a long-lasting storm. One of the main threats is large hail. And there's a look at the tornado reports. So far, it looks like 7 tornadoes altogether. There was one in Moore, and this is a town that's been hit by tornadoes many, many times in recent years. Two devastating tornadoes, as a matter of fact, in '99 and also in 2013. There are the tornadoes both west of Tulsa and east of Tulsa in NOLA. Then War Eagle, a probable rain-wrapped tornado. That's when you can't see the tornado, so it just looks like a big wall of rain. And certainly you can get that when you've got what are called high precipitation supercells that produce an awful lot of rain. Now, again, the threat is not over. There is a look at the severe thunderstorm watches that have come from the Storm Prediction Center. Got this group of them here, which expire at 10 o'clock Central Time, so one more hour of severe thunderstorm watches there. And then these watches expire at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're in southeastern parts of Missouri, including Cape Girardeau, western Kentucky, and then not quite down to Memphis, Tennessee. So here is the latest, and you've got this big line of storms. So this is not at all unusual to see these individual cells beginning to congeal into more of a line of storms late in the event. A lot of lightning with these storms, and you notice that the line itself, even though the individual storms are moving to the north and east, the line itself is only very slowly changing its orientation. So you've got repeated rounds of heavy rain coming over the same areas, hour after hour after hour. That's when you start talking about flash flooding, and that is a definitive threat with all this. So let's drop on in and take a look at some of the warnings here. First of all, down into the Oklahoma City metro, your threat is over. Okay, so you're in the clear. You're in good shape at this point. The front has come through. It's a lot cooler right now. All the severe weather is well off to the south and to the east. You've got a couple of cells here that are still showing up very nicely as individual cells and still showing a very serious hail threat. In fact, I was just looking at some of the data moments ago at a couple of these cells, and they look like they could be producing golf ball size hail as they move off to the east there. Pontotoc, Pottawatomie, Seminole counties under severe thunderstorm warning. And there you see how these cells are gradually going to be dropping off more off towards the south and towards the east there. And so let's, and oh yes, you're right, but there we go. There is the front right in there. So right there, that is your front. So these are actually elevated storms. And once that is the case, what's happening is you've got cooler air that has come down at the surface, and then you've got warmer air that is overriding that and feeding these thunderstorms. But once these storms are elevated, as we say, and there is cool air underneath of them, then that really cuts down the wind and tornado threat, and it primarily becomes a matter of hail and heavy rain, which is exactly what we are likely to see with these cells. There you see the flash flood warnings up there in Tulsa, ongoing rain there, and another severe warning in eastern Oklahoma, Haskell, McIntosh, and Muskogee counties, that going until 9:45.
All right, some good news to hear that we are starting to see some improvement with these storms, but we're continuing to track them. We're also tracking the damage, and I want to bring in now Michael Ann Uten. She is with the Oklahoma Emergency Management Agency. And Michael Ann, thank you for joining us. I know that there have been reports of extensive damage in some of your areas, particularly west of Tulsa. Can you talk about the damage, what types of damage you're seeing in central Oklahoma?
Absolutely. A community called Sand Springs, which is west of Tulsa, seems to have been hit with the majority of the damage today. There in a mobile home park called River Oaks, we're seeing more than 40 mobile homes that have been damaged. And that would be varying degrees of damage, to include some of those have been destroyed.
We've also seen images coming out of numerous areas of power flashes. Can you update us on the power situation?
So we have about 80,000 homes and businesses without power at this time. The greatest number is in the Tulsa area, as you can imagine, where we had that extensive damage in the Sand Springs area. But we also have some power outages in central Oklahoma due to the storms that moved through more.
Okay. I know that two interstates, I-40 and I-35, heavily traveled interstates. So we had reports of vehicles flipping on some of those interstates. Can you talk about that situation and the injured?
Well, of course, the details we're getting right now are still sketchy. We expect to have a full damage assessment completed, after first light tomorrow morning. But yes, we do have reports that there were vehicles that were stuck and vehicles that had flipped and were damaged on the roadways. We know that local officials are continuing to work to make sure that those roadways are cleared.
And I think it's important to point out right now is the time of night where a lot of people are probably wanting to get out there and assess the damage themselves, but obviously still a dangerous and developing situation there in Oklahoma.
Absolutely. The best thing everyone can do is if they don't have business in the area where we've had damage to please stay away. And at the same time, let the local officials and the first responders do their job.
And Michael Ann, just so we can get an idea of the River Oaks mobile home community, can you describe what kind of area that is? Is it a relatively rural area?
You know, I don't have a whole lot of details about that right now. I do know that it's in the Sand Springs community, which is immediately west of Tulsa, which is in the northeastern part of the state.
And in terms of damage in Tulsa, are we talking about structural damage, trees down, power outages, as you mentioned, or what types of damage?
In the Tulsa area, primarily trees downed and power lines and power poles that are downed. And, of course, that's contributing to the power outages that we're seeing in that area.
All right, Michael Ann Newton with the Oklahoma Emergency Management Agency. Thank you so much. We also are just getting word that more public schools will be closed tomorrow as a result of these storms that came through the area. And we do know of one fatality as well, that in the Sand Springs area, where that mobile home park was heavily damaged. We'll be talking with a storm chaser coming up next. He's got an incredible story of survival when we come back.
It took James Dyson 5,000 prototypes to invent the bagless vacuum, and another 10,000 to invent the only vacuum that doesn't lose suction, thanks to patented sonic tips. Everything else is history. Search Kinetic now.
Anyone have occasional constipation, diarrhea, gas, bloating?
Yes.
One Phillips Colon Health probiotic cap each day helps defend against these occasional digestive issues with 3 types of good bacteria. Live the regular life. Phillips.
All we need to sell Strongbow Hard Cider is ice. And an award for best tasting hard cider.
Have you got the shot yet?
Remember that thing about keeping your face behind the award? Strongbow.
True Green presents The Yardleys.
Hello? Oh, the pizza's here. Hey, come on in.
Right.
Whoa! Lose the sneakers, pal. Kind of a thing.
It is.
Spring is on. Start your True Green lawn plan today. True Green. Live life outside.
So, as my personal financial psychic, I'm sure you know what this meeting is about.
Yes, a raise.
I'm letting you go.
I knew that.
You see, this is my Amerivest managed...
Balances.
No, portfolio. And if it doesn't perform well for 2 consecutive...
Gold.
Quarters,
yeah.
Then Amerivest gives me back their advisory
stocks,
fees for those quarters.
Yeah.
So I'm confident I'm in good hands.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade, you got this.
I'm excited to use Hydroxycut because I really want to lose weight.
Hydroxycut is America's #1 selling weight loss supplement brand.
Don't let more years go by and continue to pack on the pounds. Start as soon as you can.
Hydroxycut lets you lose weight your way.
Whatever their stickers say, they'll all lose suction because their filters clog. But with our sonic tips oscillating at 5,000 hertz, only new Dyson Kinetic Science won't lose suction.
Sundays.
One man's trash
Get to work.
is another man's totally awesome beer can space heater.
Hi.
Brainstormers. Sundays at 9. Only on the Weather Channel.
Moved the whole top off of the house while we were in it with my 4-year-old grandbaby. My whole family lives in here, and everybody is afraid of it.
Up from the bathtub to the ceiling 3 times, man.
There's people in here with cancer.
Everybody.
A developing scene tonight out of Sand Spring, Oklahoma, west of Tulsa, where we know the River Oaks mobile home park was hit very hard. At least 40 mobile homes damaged as a result of a preliminary tornado coming through the area, and we know of one fatality as well as a result of this powerful line of storms, which is starting to ramp down a bit, Carl. And we don't have the tornado warnings any longer. Still some severe thunderstorm warnings this evening, but there is still the possibility of damage throughout the evening as well until the early morning hours.
Yeah, the storms are calming down a little bit, but there's still a lot of energy in the atmosphere out there and still a lot of very heavy rain. That's not going to help anything out. There's a look at Tulsa, where there are flash flood warnings now in effect. Now, the news is better in that the back edge of all of this rain is now approaching. So after that comes through, I think we're finally going to dry out there, and that's going to help out with the recovery and the cleanup cleanup efforts in Tulsa, but tornadoes to the west and to the east of Tulsa earlier this evening, and you've got ongoing storms now that extend farther to the south. There's a look at our tornado reports. Donut shop destroyed at Highway 97. We heard about the mobile home park as well. Then a tornado in Moore, Oklahoma. That is south of Oklahoma City. This showed up really, really well on the radar picture. We not only saw the circulation of the tornado, we actually saw debris, which is one of the newer features of the Doppler radar. Dual pole radar, as we call it, can actually recognize structural debris in the air or tree debris in the air, and we saw that in this particular case. So we knew that there was a tornado lasted for about 11 minutes there and more. All right, so let's take a look at some of the warnings right now. There's a look at severe thunderstorm warnings that are ongoing. There is an ongoing hail threat on the left there. By the way, you're looking at the power flashes that occurred in Moore as perhaps the tornado, but certainly just a broad area of strong winds was coming through. Just a huge area of power flashes, and no doubt a lot of people without power and probably live wires on the ground as well. Warnings are ongoing right now. Cole, Pontotoc, Seminole counties. Severe thunderstorm warning. These cells are generally moving east. And you notice there's still a lot of lightning showing up there. Not quite as much as we saw earlier. So looking at the trend over the last hour or so, it's definitely down across a lot of this region. That means that the storms are settling down, and it's going to be transitioning into more of a heavy rain threat than anything else. But there are still some storms that are very feisty. Notice there's a warning now west of Fort Smith. A lot of lightning on that cell as well. Then you've got a whole collection of storms up around Fayetteville in Arkansas, and a series of warnings there. There again, Tulsa, no more severe warnings, but flash flood for Creek, Tulsa, Wagoner going until 11:30. Again, that rain is just about ready to move out, so things will be improving there. Then a whole string of severe thunderstorm warnings now north of 40, and then you've got this trailing, as we call it, stratiform area of heavy rain that's just south of 44, so a lot of wet weather along with that. Oh, and a new tornado warning to tell you about now. This is in Missouri. This is Bollinger County, and that is Glen Allen, Marble Hill. So you've got a little line segment here, and sometimes along the leading edge of these line segments, you can get a little circulation developing right along the leading edge, and we'll take a look at that on the high resolution radar coming up in just a moment. But again, that's a tornado warning going until 9:30 for Bollinger County. That includes Glen Allen and also Marble Hill. And the movement there, Sarah, is east at 40 miles per hour. It looks like that would be headed perhaps right into Cape Girardeau, and we'll see if we can get a closer look at what's going on in the velocity data for you coming up here in just a moment. But this is going to be near Whitewater at 9:26, 9:39 coming into Jackson, 9:47 coming into Cape Girardeau. I can tell you, based on the structure of the storm, this is probably not going to be a more long-lived tornado. Rather, it's more of a brief spin-up along the leading edge of the cooler air that's rushing out from this little line segment. Nonetheless, these little gustnadoes can actually be very damaging. And so, again, a tornado warning for Bollinger County, and that is now moving east at about 40 miles per hour. All right, so there's a look at our thunderstorm forecast for the rest of tonight. And severe weather will be a threat right through Arkansas, Oklahoma, coming down overnight tonight, and then maybe, Julie, some stronger storms going into tomorrow afternoon in the mid-Atlantic region.
Absolutely, and I think it's important to point out we've already seen extensive damage from these storms across Oklahoma. More public schools now canceled for tomorrow, and we have extensive damage in Moore, also west of Tulsa. That is where the River Oaks mobile home community was heavily damaged. We're told at least 40 mobile homes there damaged. One person lost their life as a result of the tornado that came through there earlier this evening. We also just heard from Oklahoma State's emergency manager. She tells us that 80,000 people across Oklahoma are without power at this hour. We can attest to seeing numerous power flashes coming out of the Moore area. Also, numerous trees down and structures damaged. Still trying to put together a clear picture of just how widespread this damage is. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned for your Local on the 8, brought to you by Duracell, trusted to outlast the storm.
I've seen hurricanes, floods, I've seen tornadoes.
We give out Duracell batteries after the worst happens. And when the power's out for days, we stay with them. You might say they lost everything, but that's not what I see. I see a different kind of power. I saw it in Ruth, Adam, Tom. It's the power they have inside of them. The power to move forward.
At Duracell, we believe that's the power that never, ever goes out.
Currently in our area, 77 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 72. Winds south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, partly cloudy. Thursday night, thunderstorms early, low 73. Chance of rain 50%. Here's our 7-day outlook.
When our little girl was born, we got a Subaru. It's where she said her first word.
No.
Saw her first day of school.
Bye-bye.
Made a best friend forever.
Oh my God.
The back seat of my Subaru is where she grew up.
What?
2015 Subaru Forester.
What?
Built to be there for your family. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
If you're taking multiple medications, does your mouth often feel dry? A dry mouth can be a side effect of many medications, but it can also lead to tooth decay and bad breath. That's why there's Biotene. Available as an oral rinse, toothpaste, spray, or gel, Biotene can provide soothing relief, and it helps keep your mouth healthy too. Remember, while your medication is doing you good, a dry mouth isn't. Biotene, for people who suffer from a dry mouth.
You could sit at your computer and read all about zero-turn mowers. Click, scroll, tweet, or you could just sit on a John Deere Z435 Easy Track and feel its power. You'll know it'll get the job done fast. When it's time to pick a mower, you've got to get on one. Visit your local John Deere dealer for a test drive today. On a Z435 and save $100 on your purchase. Nothing runs like it.
It makes me happy to go on the computer. I like feeling smart.
Internet Essentials from Comcast has brought low-cost internet access to over 1.4 million low-income people at home.
Internet Essentials helped me progress in my schoolwork. It helped my grades move higher.
Today, it's the largest broadband adoption program in America.
It helped me a lot.
Comcast NBC Universal, helping to bridge the digital divide.
One look at that Red Baron pizza, and you're gonna love it from the first bite to the last. Because a perfect pizza requires a perfect crust. The sauce commands your attention. The cheese begs you to savor every bite. The pepperoni declares you have reached pizza nirvana. And that last slice?
What's it worth to you?
A perfect crust means a better pizza. Red Baron, love at first bite. Pick up a pizza you can call your own. Red Baron Singles.
Order now.
Welcome back. We're continuing to interrupt our regular programming to bring you coverage of the severe weather outbreak that has taken place in Oklahoma this evening, now moving east into Missouri as well. Right now, you're listening to some video from earlier. You hear the tornado sirens. Tulsa really the bullseye here for a lot of widespread damage, and certainly west of Tulsa, a very hard-hit community there, Sand Springs, where we do know of at least 40 mobile homes damaged there at the River Oaks Mobile Home Park. Also, one person losing their life as what appears to be a tornado moving through the area. We have at least 5 preliminary tornadoes. That number will likely continue to grow as more information is gathered. More than 140 severe weather reports this evening and more than 100 large hail reports. We've seen hail as large as softball size being reported in Oklahoma. We do know that now that the storms are moving off to the east into Missouri, and Carl, you are tracking the latest tornado warning, which is in Missouri.
Yeah, that's right. This is for Bollinger County in Missouri in the southeastern part of the state, and does include Cape Girardeau, or just areas west of Cape Girardeau, I should say. So let's take a look at where this is on the radar. This storm is now west of I-55 and moving off towards the east at 40 miles per hour. And we'll zoom down and show you what's going on with this cell. Pretty remarkable little cell. It's had a little comma shape right there, a little circulation in it, which we'll take a look at it in just a moment. But it's right along the leading edge of this bow where we could see a little circulation developing. So it's going to be right in there, little circulation. There's a sort of a C shape right there, backward C shape. That's a bow echo, and right along the edge of that is where we may be looking at a possible tornado, and that conceivably could be headed for Cape Girardeau. But these types of tornadoes tend to be rather short-lived. Now, notice there is a little bit of a kink right in there, right along the leading edge of the bow. We'll take a look at what is called the velocity data, and we are seeing that there's wind that's moving away from the radar right through here, and then you've got wind that's moving toward the radar right in here. So there is a sort of a broader circulation, and then it's going to be just a tinier circulation right along the leading edge there. And again, these tiny circulations tend to be short-lived. So there's probably not going to be an extension on this. I'd be surprised if there was. But notice as we look at what is called ZDR, so I want to show you the area of hail right in there. Now, sometimes that can be very heavy rain, those deep pink colors, or it can be hail. But we'll take a look at what's called the differential reflectivity. And when it appears to be gray, we know that it's more spherical in shape and more likely to be hail. So that is most definitely hail there. And at a minimum, we're going to be talking about really strong wind and hail coming into Cape Girardeau before very long. And again, there is that ongoing tornado warning. Now, let's take a look at the forecast for the rest of tonight and see where we go from here. And there's your area of concern for severe weather across southeastern Oklahoma. The threat is over in Oklahoma City. Lingering storms in northern parts of Arkansas and then over into the middle Mississippi Valley as well. Julia.
All right, we've heard from a number of storm chasers this evening, Carl, and we would like to hear from another one. This is Jazz Bishop. He rode out the storm this evening in Moore, Oklahoma. And Jazz, you know, we saw some video earlier this evening out of Moore with just incredible power flashes. Did you witness that as well?
Yes, I did. I saw some of that. I was on the backside of the storm as it was going through Moore, and it was just some incredible winds. My car actually got pushed around a little bit on the road. Some amazing hail a little further out west of the city as it came in close to the airport. It was just incredible, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing, that it was hitting almost this exact same area that we got hit with in 2013.
Absolutely, and we're talking about that EF5 back in 2013 that killed 24. Did you actually see a tornado?
It was mostly rain-wrapped from my perspective, so I was just able to see some intense lightning from where the rotation was at, and some slight power flashes. And then immediately as I was dovetailing it in, I could see the damage to the houses. There were some power was out. There was a couple of homes that the roofs had been completely torn off of. I passed a white car that had been blown off the road into a telephone pole on 12th, almost like a block away from where the 7-Eleven by the Moore Warren Theater had been completely obliterated.
And would you say most of the damage would be trees down and some moderate damage to homes and businesses, or how would you describe it?
It looked like to me it was probably like an EF2 or an EF3. Most of the damage was trees that had been blown down. Several homes had the roofs taken off, but the base of the structure was still there and intact.
So roofs off of homes?
Yes, absolutely. I saw at least 3 or 4 homes that had the roofs completely off. There was one home close to that section there of Telegraph Road and Northeast 12th that the roof had come off and had some of the most major structural damage. that I'd seen. Now, not too far from there is the KOMA radio towers. There's 3 tall towers, and in the 2013 F5 tornado, that tornado came very close to that tower, unscathed. Those towers are all on the ground except the center one, and the top of it's been over. Those towers are completely down on the ground.
Okay. And what about the hail? Were you experiencing large hail as well?
Yeah, I started getting pelted by hail, and then it got to the point that I kind of stopped to let the storm get ahead of me because...
Okay. Jez, we're going to interrupt you and come back to you right after this next break and show your incredible video.
Gone fishing. It's a sign that means we've locked up and headed off to do something we love. Luckily, there's an entire state dedicated to those little signs, with 19 million acres of woods. Gone biking, gone golfing, and the world's longest freshwater coastline. Gone rock skipping, gone sailing, gone wandering. Meet you on the playgrounds of Pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
Allergies can distract you. So when your symptoms start, doctors recommend taking non-drowsy Claritin every day of your allergy season. With Claritin, you get powerful non-drowsy relief 24 hours a day, day after day. Which is important, because with fewer symptoms to distract you, you can focus on the extraordinary things you do every single day. Live Claritin Clear every day.
Look! This is the new Asian-inspired broth bowl from Panera Bread. Our hero is the soba noodle, which we pair with fresh spinach. Mushrooms, yes. And chicken raised without antibiotics. Very nice. Then top with a soy miso broth. That noise! Panera broth bowl should be slurped with gusto. Yum. To explore further, order online or visit your neighborhood Panera Bread.
Last year, Bud Light built a town called Whatever USA. This once-in-a-lifetime town is happening again. And all that's standing between you and a chance at is sharing a 15-second audition video. Tell us why you should go using #UpForWhatever and #audition.
It's March. Time to seize the moment at your local Hyundai dealer. Right now, get an all-new 2015 Sonata for just 0% APR for 66 months. Plus, get $1,000 March bonus cash. Take advantage of these limited-time offers and step up to the luxurious Sonata. But hurry, time is running out. The Hyundai Seize the Moment sales event ends March 31st. Seize your Sonata today and get $2,000 cash back.
Introducing Ring, the world's most advanced doorbell.
Hello? Delivery for Aaron Parker? Thanks, you can leave it at the door.
Ring streams HD video and audio to smartphones and tablets. With dual power options, you can install Ring in just minutes. And Ring's real-time motion alerts are the perfect way to monitor your home